Welcome back to the Max Reality. If you've seen my face before, then you know the drill, but if you're new here, I love talking all things reality TV, and today we are talking about Shark Tank Season 16, Episode 2, with special guest Max Maxwell. Our sharks for the episode are Damon, Kevin, Lori, Mark, and new guest shark Todd Graves, founder and CEO of Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. Our first pitch of the night is Topsail Steamer. Danielle walked into the tank looking for $350,000 for 8% of her ready-to-go seafood boil. Here it is. It's pretty self-explanatory. It is a bucket that comes with all the seafood and seasoning you need to have your perfect seafood boil at home. She started the business in 2017, I think. She didn't say that explicitly. She said she had the idea in 2016 and then a year later they started, but I don't know to what capacity they started, so we didn't really get a whole lot of the history of the company, especially considering it started in 2017 and we're in 2024, but we'll go off the bases. They started in 2017. They have 8 brick and mortar stores that they sell out of, one of which is a franchise store, and then they also will ship it to you directly to your house. We don't get the usual, this is exactly what it costs to make, this is what we sell it for. The numbers are a little different with this one, but just stick with me. Their average order cost is $177. Their food costs are at 28%, while their labor costs are at 17%, and then we also get their average unit volume for their brick and mortar stores. They have 2 different types of brick and mortar stores. Some are open year-round and some are seasonal. For the year-round ones, their AUV is around $987,000, while the seasonal ones are at $450,000. Then we also get their cost of goods sold, which is 40%. Feels a little like mumbo jumbo, but those are good numbers for food. I would say the big thing to look at with those set of numbers is the fact that her percentage to make the product with the food and labor costs is 45%, which again is a very good number for food. That is what you really need to take away from that little section of numbers. Since they didn't tell us how much, it necessarily costs, I'll give you a little idea of it by talking about this Shark Bite steamer pot they have. We're going to go with their low tider version. If you want to go pick it up at their North Carolina location, you're looking at $132 around before, taxes or fees or whatever. And then if you want to order it online to ship to you, you're looking at $199.95. Of course, with a valuation of a little over $4 million, we need to know the sales. Last year, they did $4.5 million, and this year they're projected to do $5.7 million. Sounds great. However, they did not talk about if they're profitable or not, so it does kind of take the wind out of the sails for that number for me. I always feel like that is one of the number one things they have to tell us. I don't care. Editors, please always put in with the sales if they're profitable or not, because I want to know, because it makes a big difference, at least to me, how I feel about the product moving forward anyway. I also kind of wish we would have talked more about the online model versus the brick and mortar model. We do a little because we start out with Todd asking about which is growing more, and she does say that franchising the brick and mortar stores is the path that they see for expanding this more. So I would take that to mean that their brick and mortar stores are really like the meat of where their sales come from. But I don't know that for sure. However, Todd doesn't think franchising is the way to go with this. He starts talking about his own experience attempting to franchise Raising Cane's and how ultimately they decided to go with the company-owned model. Overall, his main point is that franchisees will never care about the business as much as the owner does, and he kind of advocates for going the owner company-owned model while also paying management more to make them more invested in the outcome of the business. Then Damon takes some time to ask Todd what he thinks about the numbers for this business, because Damon doesn't necessarily know a whole lot about the restaurant and food model, and I always love that when a shark has a certain expertise and they give them some time to kind of like show it off. Big fan of that. He talks about how in a business like this, the number one thing you need is a delicious product that keeps people coming back, which check, she has. All the sharks think it is very delicious. And then as far as the numbers go, you really want to keep your costs below 60%, which she is doing, so her numbers are lining up very well. The other main thing is obviously this is something that could be copied, so there is worry about that, but what you can't copy is a founder's passion. That is a quote from Todd. I'm not just saying that. But because of that founder's passion she has, Todd decides he wants to make an offer of $350,000 for 20%.
Ouch.
But that's not all, because Lori is also interested and wants to know how Todd would feel about her joining in on the deal of $350,000 for 20%. Lori thinks it would be a good partnership because Todd has a lot of experience in the area of the restaurant business and the actual food stuff, where Lori can help more with the direct-to-consumer model. She talks about one of her more recent investments in a company called Bordery. They do these little charcuterie cheese boards that they mail to people, and she feels like she can help them in that aspect of the business, and Todd agrees, and they change the deal to both of them for $350,000 for 20%. Danielle is excited about the offer, but like I always say, it's always worth it to maybe try a respectful counter, and she tries countering $350,000 for 16%, which they aren't willing to go that low, but Todd offers to go down to 18%, and they make a deal with Todd and Lori for $350,000 for 18%.
My first Shark Tank deal.
Mine too. First things first, I just want to say I called the offer when my partner and I were watching this. Immediately when they made her the offer of 20%, I was like, she should try countering 15% to see if she can get them down to 18%. She tried 16 instead of 15, but literally close enough. I nailed it. I was so proud of myself. Also, right after they made the deal, they're doing their normal, like, celebratory, like, going down there and hugging them and all that. And then you see Damon walking down, and me and my partner were both like, where is he going? He is not part of the deal. And I'm just going to play the clip because it made me laugh so much.
Oh my gosh. Thanks so much.
I think you're going to do well. I think you're going to do well.
Yes.
Like, same. I related to Damon so much after that. That is so me. Like, actually, excuse me. I'm going to eat some more of this. Also, Mark, literally almost every time we cut to him, he was just chowing down. And he's always been that way, but it feels very extra this season. It feels very like, this is my last time that I'm gonna be getting all these like random samples of stuff, and I am making the most of it. And I love Mark for that. My man, I'm gonna miss him. Getting back to the actual product and the pitch that we just watched. Number one, I love seafood. I'm a huge fan of a seafood boil, crawfish boil, whatever. And if I had a store close to me, I definitely could see going to get something like this for a party or an event. But I just don't see a world where I would ship this to myself, because at that point, I just feel like I would go to one of my local seafood places and get it, or just get the stuff. I don't know. I can't justify shipping it to myself. I have, though, seen from multiple of the reviews that the quality is really good. Almost every review I saw of people talking about it were people saying it was delicious. So I definitely would try this if it was closer to me. I just cannot justify shipping this to myself. Overall, though, I think it's a good product, especially if the business is profitable. Like, I'm kind of assuming it is. Like, good for her. Way to go. And I think Todd and Lori will really be able to help her. I think that was the perfect combination of sharks to really help this business grow. And I'd love to see how it continues to go in the future. Our second pitch of the night is Raft Treats. John and Cynthia walked into the tank looking for $250,000 for 5% of their ice cream that looks like fried chicken. Here it is. It's a waffle ice cream with a chocolate pretzel bone dipped in caramelized white chocolate and rolled in cornflakes. The numbers are a little light with this one. We didn't even get how much it costs to make, unless I'm absolutely bonkers. If you can't hear, I am a little sick, so I took these notes while being a little sick, but I went back. I swear they did not tell us how much it costs to make. That's fine though. All they told us was how much it costs to ship one of the 9-piece buckets, and that is $109. That includes shipping. That is like directly, it has come to your house for $109. I also took the liberty of looking up how much it costs to get it in store, because they also have physical store locations, and in-store it is $45. You may be thinking to yourself, that is a wild difference, and the reasoning for that is because shipping frozen stuff is actually bananas. It is bonkers. I literally did not even blink when they said it was $109 to ship. My partner was like, huh? And I immediately was like, yeah, that's just what it costs to ship frozen stuff. It's wild. That's just the facts of the matter, though. Putting a $5 million valuation on the company, we obviously want to know the sales. I say that like not every single business the past like 2 or 3 years hasn't been making their valuation crazy. But anyway, last year they did $1.2 million in sales. Year to date, they're at $750,000, and they're projected to end the year at $1.7 million. And we do have a profitable company. It is low, with 5% net operating income being their profitability, but it's not nothing. I always say it's not nothing. They're not losing $1 million a year, so I will claps for them. So when they first came in, they were actually trying to pretend they were pitching a actual fried chicken product. Sometimes when the entrepreneurs come in and do a fake out like that, I like to also do the fake out, but I didn't have it in me this time. But the clip of the sharks like figuring out that the fried chicken wasn't chicken was so funny. I did have to put it in here, so here you go.
Let's see here.
I can't cut it.
All right.
It's frozen solid.
It's frozen.
They don't only do fried chicken, though. They do ice cream in the shapes of all different kinds of food. They have a peach bomb, which literally looks like a peach, but it's actually peach sorbet. They even did a full TV dinner thing. I went and looked on their website. They had some different ones for Halloween, like in the shape of like haunted dolls and things like that. So really, they're in the market of just unique, novelty-looking ice cream. But here in the tank today, they want to focus on the fried chicken product, as that's what they call their hero product. One of the main things they're in the tank looking for money for today is the fact that they want to bring in all of their shipping direct-to-consumer stuff in-house. At the moment, they're using a third-party company, and instead they want to bring it all together as one business. Mark jumps in to say he appreciates what they've been able to accomplish, but he does not want to be in the frozen food space, as it's notoriously difficult, so he goes out. Then we have Damon, who says he loves the product. He even goes as far to say it's one of the most innovative things he's seen in his life, but he doesn't see where he could add much value, so he is also out. Then we have Lori, who's accidentally or not accidentally, who's to say, plugging all of her different Shark Tank investments. She talks about one of her more recent investments, Frozen Farmer, which is an ice cream sorbet company. She's worried these two companies are going to be too competitive, and because of that, she has to go out. Then there's Kevin, who likes the product and is a little conflicted, but in the end, he just doesn't feel like the concept has been proven enough. And as always, he gives us a great exit liner.
I love it, but it's not deep fried enough yet.
That leaves us with our king of fried chicken himself, Todd, as the last hen in the house. Do you see what I did there? Because chickens. Because I get hens or girl chicken. It doesn't matter. Hen house, hen, whatever. Todd starts giving a speech that you can tell is going to turn into him not giving an offer. He says he loves their entrepreneurial drive, but he's just not in the frozen food space. And right as he's about to get into saying, like, unfortunately, I can't give you a deal, Damon jumps in to be like, couldn't you put this in your restaurant as a dessert? But Unfortunately, the answer to that is no, and Todd talks about how he hasn't changed the Raising Cane's menu in 28 years, and it's one of those if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of mentalities, which I totally understand, and because of that, he doesn't see where he could be able to really help them, and because of that, he is out, meaning the pair leave the tank without a deal. Now, remember how last pitch I was just talking about how much Mark loves to eat the food on Shark Tank? Well, we get another great example of that with this product.
I finished the whole bucket of the chicken.
Oh my God, Mark!
Mark, can I offer you another one?
So the first thing I have to talk about is stuff I saw on the internet when I was doing my, little digging around, looking at the company while I was writing my notes. And there's some arguments going on between people who have had this product in real life. It seems to be at one point the middle of the fried chicken, the bone, wasn't a pretzel, it was a chocolate covered cookie, and people on Reddit were arguing about whether it still is or not. I mean, in the pitch they said themselves that it's a pretzel, but if you go and look at their website, it says cookie. And then there were people in the Reddit who were like, I literally had one a couple days ago at their store. It was a pretzel. I know the packaging still says cookie. I don't know why, but it was a pretzel. And other people being like, no, I swear it's still a cookie. So I don't know. I just thought that was wild that there was so much argument about it. So I had to bring it to y'all. If you've had it, I would love to know. And also, I do feel like the cookie would be better. Multiple people who had said they had both were saying the cookie is better. And if it did get changed, this is me saying to them, maybe bring the cookie back, because that sounds delicious. My super honest thoughts about this are, I feel like, I always hate saying this, Lori loves saying this, but it's true. I feel like this could be a very good and even majorly successful business for them if they just continued to keep it kind of smaller, keep it in actual stores, maybe open some other brick and mortar stores. But I personally don't feel like the shipping it out to people is going to be the route to go. Because again, as you saw, the stark difference of $45 versus $109, shipping the seafood boil thing to me sounds way more reasonable when you think about the shipping for this, because there is just not a world where I could spend $109 to ship 9 little pieces of ice cream treats to myself. I just can't. I literally cannot justify that. I could justify the seafood thing way before I could justify this. But if I was living near one of these, I could definitely see going to get one of their fun seasonal ones. All the holiday ones looked so fun. It'd definitely be something to go do with your friends on a fun night out, or even buy some for a party. I definitely can see that aspect. Or the bigger thing I thought of was fairs. I could definitely see being at a fair or a carnival and buying one of these for $5, because while that may seem like a lot just randomly to go buy one of these for $5, at a fair it's money's not real. And it's such a fun little treat. It does seem like a fun little treat. I just can't understand their model of wanting to do more of the direct to consumer stuff. I just don't see it. I can see they were talking about wanting to be in more retail stores. That feels more plausible to me. Although, as multiple of the other sharks were saying, the retail space for frozen foods is such a hard business to be in. But I don't know. If it were me, and this is also just based off the kind of person I am, I would definitely focus more on just making the store super successful and maybe even opening some more stores. That's my personal opinion. We really didn't get a big breakdown of once again, what the retail stuff does compared to the direct-to-consumer stuff, so I might be completely talking out of my ass. These are always just my opinions, as I always say. This is my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's what I got for y'all on that. Our third pitch of the night is RigStrips. Steven and Zach walked into the tank looking for $300,000 for 7.5% of their car accessory to help you lean your outdoor equipment on it without damaging your vehicle. Here it is in action. You stick it to the side of your car and it has little grooves to set your equipment in, making sure it doesn't fall and scratch your vehicle. They have two different products, a snow strip that is designed for holding things like skis and snowboards, and then they have a sun strip which is designed to hold things like fishing rods. The snow strip costs them $8.50 to make, and then the sun strip costs $7. They do include shipping as part of their costing because they do the whole like free shipping thing, but include it in the cost of the product, and shipping is around $8.50. Then they sell both of the different products for $50. We also get their customer acquisition cost, which is $10. And then they tell us that 62% of their sales happen in November and December, meaning that this is a very big gifting item, which I can 100% see that. They've been in business since 2020, and their lifetime sales are $3 million, but more than half of that was just last year. And this year, they're projected to do $2.7 million. And yes, we have a profitable company. We get their EBITDA number, which is one of my favorite things to say. It means earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization, and that is $450,000. Mark starts us off by saying he sees this more as a product rather than a company. Also, he's not really the outdoorsy shark, so he's out. Then we have Kevin, who is just coming out the gate strong this season with his little sayings and one-liners and ways that he exits instead of making an offer. It's just, never change. Keep going, Kevin.
It takes me a while to make 300, and I cry like a baby when I lose it. But I'm not saying I would with you. It's too much effort to squeeze you like teenage pimples to get what I want.
Ew.
So I'm gonna pass. I'm out.
Then Todd asks a very classic Shark Tank question, which is, what are you looking for in a shark? And then what do you want to do with the $300,000? They say what they need from a shark is help with marketing strategies. When they're talking about the different numbers, they talk about the fact that the only real advertising they've done is through meta ads, and they're already growing pretty quickly with that, and they think if they could get into other avenues of marketing, they could continue on that growth. And then as for the money, the main thing they need it for is inventory and building that up. On top of, they want to use around $50,000 for experimenting with the different marketing channels. And Todd is interested. He says he will be a user of this product, and he thinks his team can help them with the marketing stuff, but the valuation is too high in his opinion. So he offers them $300,000 for 20%. We are getting a pattern of Todd with the 20%.
Boom.
Well, that's an offer. It's better than nothing.
We then have Lori jump in to kind of clear the deck and probably help push them towards saying yes to Todd. She, brings up that he's made a really good offer to them, and in her opinion, 7.5% for $300,000 just doesn't excite her, so she is out. The guys try to counter $300,000 for 10%, and Todd immediately comes back to them with $300,000 for 15%.
Would you meet us somewhere in the middle between there, just so we can shake your hand right now and have a great time running this company together?
As opposed to what? Shaking it later after you win 15%?
Todd doesn't even have to, reject the 12.5% because of the reaction from all the other sharks. They realize they should just go ahead and make the deal before it goes away, and they end up making the deal with Todd for $300,000 for 15%. So I don't do any of the activities that would make it so I would want to buy one of these. When I was listening to them, I just didn't understand why you wouldn't just set it on the ground. However, the more I thought about it, I do know, and I will admit personally, I am a huge fan of a little gadget that will help with stuff. The amount of dumb little gadgets I have in my kitchen that I love and I do not care that I spent money on is probably ridiculous to other people who don't cook a lot. So maybe if I did some of these activities, I would end up buying this as a little gadget, something that helps lover, but $50 is kind of a lot, in my opinion, for it to be just a fun little gadget. I don't know, maybe that's pretty on par with kind of outdoor stuff like this. I'm not one to say I am not a huge outdoor person. I will say I saw really mixed reviews. I was even on like skiing Reddit, and I saw some people who really loved it, said it helped them a lot, just made things slightly easier. And then other people saying that like the magnets weren't very strong, they really didn't like it. So I don't know. Overall, I liked this pitch because at the end of the day, it's a simple product. It solves some problem that I assume exists. Again, I can't say for sure, but no matter what, simple product trying to solve a problem, and the company makes money. And I'm always advocating for those businesses to come pitch on Shark Tank, so I wish them nothing but the best. Our fourth and final pitch of the night is BucketGolf. Tyler and Jenny walked into the tank looking for $1 million for 10% of their backyard golf game. Here it is. They have these little pop-up buckets and little wiffle balls, and pretty much the game is just kind of chipping. If you play golf, that's pretty much what you're doing. You set up your own little golf course, and the aim is to hit the ball in the bucket. As far as the costing goes, they use their 9-hole bundle, and it costs them $60 to make and retails for $199. Okay, I know I've said this for like all the businesses, but especially with this one having a valuation of $10 million. These sharks immediate first question is about the sales.
Wait a second.
Well, maybe you
Tyler,
sold 10
Tyler,
million
honey,
in
sweetie,
the first-
poopsie baby, bring the sales.
We don't just get the numbers straight out, though. He paints us a nice little picture, admitting that in his first 3 years, he just had absolutely no idea what he was doing and only made about $5,000. Aside from not being super knowledgeable about e-commerce, he had some issues with the product that were making it too expensive and more difficult to ship. But in 2021, he made the product that's before them today, and in 2022, they did $2.5 million in sales. 2023, they did $5.9 million, and this year they're projecting over $12 million. And once again, yes, we have a profitable company. Y'all know this episode made me so happy, especially after some of that first episode. Some of this was really healing. They said they're on track to make 15 to 20%. That's exactly what they said, so I don't know what necessarily they mean by that. I don't know. The way it was worded, I would assume they're saying they're going to make 15 to 20% of the 12 million in sales, but I don't know that for sure. I'm just gonna be honest. And before I can start talking about the sharks and any of that, we have to talk about the entrepreneurs invited Todd and Lori to come up and try their hand at BucketGolf, and my girl Lori crushed it.
You're a hero, Lori.
Then after Lori crushing it, Damon says one of the funniest things I feel like he's said in a while, which is, I don't hate golf. I hate the concept of golf, which is hilarious. However, he does see this as something he'd be interested in playing. Then Todd wants to know how this game compares to other games on the market that are similar, say maybe Spike Ball.
A former Shark Tank product.
Great success.
My deal.
Then they talk about how, Spike Ball has a couple different models. Their cheapest is $75, but they have ones that go up. Honestly, it really doesn't matter. I just wanted the clip of Damon being like, my product. And then they continue to get like the very classic line of Shark Tank questioning. First off, they get asked if there's anything similar to this on the market. They say no, but that they have had people trying to knock them off. They've applied for a design patent and that's pending, and they're hoping once it's granted, they'll be able to squash some of these copycats out there. Next, we have Kevin asking what they're going to do with the $1 million, and they say the main thing they need it for is building up their inventory because they are constantly selling out of their most popular products, and it's hard for them to keep up with demand. And last in the line of classic Shark Tank questions, Todd wants to know what they need from a shark, and they say the biggest thing they need help with is the logistics side of their business and having a shark mentor and guide them with that. Kevin is interested, but he feels like the only way this is going to blow up as big as they want it to is if they can go through a distributor, and because of how all that will work, he decides to ask for $1 million for 25%. But Damon, who invested in the very successful Spikeball, just like we mentioned earlier, is also interested and decides to match Kevin's offer. Then we have our new guest shark, Todd, who just says this isn't really something that excites him, so he's out. But he's the only one, because then we have Lori jumping in, offering the $1 million for 22.5%. Her only caveat is that she wants preferred stock, meaning when they take distributions, she gets distributions. And pretty much at the bottom of the ninth, last moment, we have Mark just casually being like, yeah, I'll give you the $1 million for 15%. Same thing as Lori, I want distributions when you get distributions.
He always undercuts us. He sits and waits till
I just do the math.
moment.
What do you say to that offer?
They say they love Mark's offer, but try countering it $1 million for 12.5%, which Mark immediately shuts down, talking about the value overall he'll add to the company. Then they try going back at him, talking about how Mark in the past multiple times has said one of the biggest deals he missed out on Shark Tank was Spikeball, and they feel they can be the next Spikeball.
I agree. That's
And
why
we
I made
put
the offer. Yeah.
so-
They're still trying to convince him to come down to the 12.5% when Lori chimes in and says, you know what? I'll do that deal. But it is very obvious they have already made up their minds that they want Mark, because the minute she says that, they look at Lori and then they just like look back to Mark like, what do you want to do?
I'll do that deal too. Bleh.
Very fortunate for them that Mark's super competitive nature kicks in and they make the deal with Mark for $1 million for 12.5%. It's also fortunate for them because Lori 100% did that to get back at Mark. She literally says it at one point because there was a pitch last season and I can't for the life of me remember which one it was. I distinctly remember them arguing, but Mark did almost this exact same thing to Lori last season where he agreed to do a deal with somebody at like a lower rate like that just to get Lori to come down. Like, he admitted it in the episode. It was hilarious. I have been racking my brain trying to remember, and I'm sure I will post this on Friday and then remember, but right now I cannot remember. Editing Morgan here, it was bothering me so much that I just dug through my notes until I figured out which one it was. And funny enough, it was season 14's Bordery, which we were just talking about in the last pitch. So very, very funny coincidence. It was a similar thing. The Bordery people were trying to get Lori to go down. Lori was staying firm, and then out of nowhere, Mark was like, no, I'll do that lower deal that you're trying to get Lori to do. And Lori conceded and did the lower deal, and now she's with Bordery. There you all go. You're welcome. So starting off, I do dabble in golf. I played a lot when I was younger. You can see my little like putter back there. Nowadays, I'm more of just a Topgolf type of person. I will go out sometimes with my dad and go play, so I dabble, and I'm gonna say it. This looks fun. Like, if I was at a party, I would definitely play it. I do not know who has the space in their backyard to have 9 holes of this. That just seems like a very small percentage of people to me. Maybe I'm wrong. The most I could fit in my backyard would be 3, and we're kind of pushing it there, but I think it's fun. I would play it if I was at a party or out at an event and they had it. My only worry would be if you wanted to play this all the time in your backyard and you are an actual golfer, that it might affect your actual golf game if you got kind of used to the way you're hitting this ball. And maybe I'm totally off base with that, but I don't, just like that muscle memory thing, I worry it would mess you up. I could be talking crazy. Who knows? That was just the one kind of worry I had in my mind at all. Overall, once again, I was so happy to see a company that's actually making money. Their valuation was a little shocking, and I was surprised that they had so many sharks just fighting over it, but I truly think it's because of how well Spikeball did and was doing. I think if this same offer would have come on a couple of years ago, they wouldn't have had the battle over it that they ended up having. But I think it's a fun product, and I think Mark will really be able to help them, so good for them. And that is a wrap on Shark Tank Season 16, Episode 2. I really liked this episode. I really liked all the pitches. I thought they were fun to watch. interesting, different products. I really like Todd Graves. I hope we at least get him for one more episode. I'm sure we will. Usually guest sharks at least get 2 episodes, but I'd be even happy if he got 3 or 4. I thought he was just such a joy to watch. Very good addition to the guest Shark Tank family. Overall, just a good episode. I really had a lot of fun. As always, if you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much. If you liked the video, don't forget to like it below. If you like this sort of content, don't forget to subscribe. And as always, I want to hear your thoughts, feelings, opinions, all that and more down below. Have you tried any of these products? Are you gonna try any of them? How do you feel about Todd? Let me know all that and more down below. And until then, I'll see y'all in the next one.